Hi everyone and welcome back to the Little Miss Funeral YouTube channel. I am so excited for today's video. Today's video is so long overdue and it is another book review. So today I'm going to be talking about The Flicker of Old Dreams by Susan Henderson. And I was sent this book by HarperCollins Publishers, so thank you so much. Honestly, I want to apologize to them because they sent me this book probably a good 4 months ago and my life has been so unbelievably busy that I just have not had any time to sit down and read. Between my work and my personal life and everything that's been going on, reading has honestly been a luxury that I have not been able to enjoy. But the wonderful thing about this book is literally the minute I did find a little bit of time and I sat down and I began to read it, I read it so quickly. I probably read it within a 2-day time period because it was that good. So The Flicker of Old Dreams is about a woman named Mary who lives in a very small town called Petroleum. And Petroleum is known for grain processing until an accident happens that changes the town's future forever. It then fast forwards to Mary being a young woman working with her dad in their family mortuary. Her father's a funeral director and Mary embalms the bodies. The book picks up with a gentleman by the name of Robert who comes to town to care for his dying mother. And the thing is, many of the townspeople are very upset at Robert coming to town because they blame him for the accident that happened long ago. This really is a story of Mary growing into the woman that she's meant to become. Mary feels a lot of pressure to be there for her father because it's just the two of them. Her mom had passed away when she was a baby. So basically it's about their day-to-day lives together, living together, working together, different things like that. But the town has taken such a turn because of this accident that money is tight for everybody. An example of this is for one funeral that they actually performed, the family paid Mary and her dad with meat because they didn't have the funds to pay for the actual services. A huge factor in this entire book is also Mary's inability to fit in with the local townspeople. She is seen as weird and different because she does work in a funeral home, and I think that the book did a really good job at portraying this. I also feel like that's something that as a funeral director is very accurate. I think when you explain to people what you do for a living, many people can kind of put you in a box and deem you as weird because of what you do, but people don't really realize that even though you do work in this field, you are just a normal person anyways. And Mary really struggles with that, trying to be a normal person who fits in and talks with different townspeople, but them also kind of shunning her just because of the work that she does. There's a part of this book that flashes back to when Mary was a little girl and her first experience with a dead body that I think Susan did such an amazing job with. It starts with Mary being in the embalming room with her father, and she sees this foot, and she asks her father if she can touch the foot, and he tells her yes. So she's this little girl poking at this dead person's foot, and then she asks her father if there's more, and he says yes. And slowly he lifts up the sheet and she sees the leg, and then she touches the leg as well, and then slowly he moves the sheet even more and it exposes a hand. And it's not until Mary sees this hand that it clicks with her that this is actually a dead body of somebody who used to live. And that experience kind of changes a lot for her. In the end, Mary ends up joining the family business because that's what she grew up around and that's what she knows. I also thought that this book did an awesome job at portraying the embalming process. Throughout the entire book, it really is a very accurate representation of that embalming process and the different steps that funeral directors and embalmers have to take when preparing a dead body. There is one part of the book that I thought was a little weird. Maybe not weird, but it kind of stressed me out as a funeral director. And it explains that a visitation is going to be starting in about an hour's time, but Mary still has work that she has to do on a particular person. And for me, I thought that that was so weird. And as a funeral director, it put a lot of stress right into my mind because anytime I personally do a funeral or a visitation, I have everything set up and ready to go the night before, if not hours before a family is expected to arrive. And here she is still working on a body and still getting everything set up when a family's supposed to walk in an hour. So I thought that that was a little weird, but also it could be an accurate representation for funeral homes who are very busy. So that's just my little 2 cents on that part. This book also makes you feel very uncomfortable with how small this town actually is. Because there's only so many people in the entire town, everybody knows everybody else's business, and I found myself reading it kind of getting some anxiety, thinking like I was a townsperson and wondering what other people were going to be saying and what other townspeople were going to be thinking. So it does a really good job of wrapping you into this world. Because the town is so small, there's really no place that Mary can go to just be herself. Another part of the book that I just thought was a little weird because of my own personal experiences, once again, was how Mary and her dad handled prearrangements. They handled them very casually, and for me, that's just something that I, as a professional, am not used to. But once again, because this is a small town setting, looking at it outside of the funeral profession, it does make sense that what they do prearrangement-wise would be a little bit more casual than maybe what I'm used to in my day-to-day life. This book just does an awesome job showing Mary's journey. She starts off as this little girl and also this insecure woman who is not really sure of herself, not really sure of her place in the world. She works day to day in the funeral home with her dad, but she just can't find a spot where she fits in. And it really portrays her entire journey into a strong female character who, through the help of other people within this book and different things that have taken place, she really finds her own voice and she really finds her own strength. And I just thought that as a novel, following her journey, even if you're not interested in the funeral profession or anything like that, but just following her journey from somebody who's uncertain to somebody who then has a vision for their own life, I thought was just so inspiring. I know I said this before, but I just love the fact that for me, since I don't personally live in a small town and I can't relate to Mary and the setting that she's working in, by reading this book, it just totally engulfed me into a different kind of life. And I love books that do that. I love books that take you away from your everyday life and then transport you into a completely different world. And it really makes you feel like you're a part of the town petroleum, and it really makes you feel like you know these people and you know these characters, and it just is such a well-written book that I would recommend it to anybody out there. Once again, I am going to put the link for this in the description bar below for anybody out there who's interested in purchasing it. It's definitely a great summer read. I recommend it to anybody. You will pick up this book and fly through it. I promise you. I once again want to thank Susan Henderson and HarperCollins Publishing for sending me this book. If anybody out there has any suggestions for any books that I should read coming up, anything within the funeral industry or with a funeral theme, you can put it in the comments below. I always love reading, even though I have done such a bad job at setting aside time for it so far this year. And as always, if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up, and do not forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos that I put out in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. You're actually being filmed. Okay, get out. Get out. I want to sit there.
The people have spoken.
Get
They
out.
want Big Little Mr. Funeral.
That's not your name.
Big Mr. Funeral.
Okay.
I'm back.